Hi, I'm Daniel, I'm a sleep physician, and if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. I have a message for you. You have total control. Not over sleep. Nobody does. But you have total control over all the things that determine the likelihood of you sleeping well. And if you take control of those circumstances, you can get to a point where good sleep is inevitable. Really excited having you here. Hope you're doing well. And before we start this episode, an announcement. Tomorrow, Insomnia coach Martin Reed is going to be a guest co-host with me answering questions. So if you have one and you're able to sneak it in before tomorrow, then please leave a comment or send me an email, daniel@insomniainsight.co. I'm super excited about this. I think it'll be really fun actually for me and Martin, but more importantly, bring a lot of value to anybody that's tuning in. So that said, today's episode, something I've been thinking about for quite a while. One of the things you often hear people say is, I just don't have any control. That kind of sense of control is a strong one. It feeds into like the anxiety that perpetuates insomnia. And it is true, and it's important to know that nobody can control their sleep. Nobody can determine or decide when they fall asleep or how long they sleep. People that sleep really well, it may seem that they are kind of controlling their sleep, but they're not. It's in fact the absence of control in a way for them an absence of the effort to control sleep that helps those people that sleep well. But getting more practical here, what I want to talk about today is that you can in fact control all the kind of circumstances that determine how well you sleep or the likelihood of you sleeping well. And when you take control again, you can get to a point where good sleep becomes inevitable. So what am I talking about here? Well, there are kind of two things that you really should take control of. One is your wakefulness. Wakefulness, staying awake, is the only thing that builds a sleep drive, a need for sleep, a kind of a hunger for sleep. And you can control your wakefulness. When you control your wakefulness, you control the only factor that determines how likely you are to sleep. So how do you control your wakefulness? Well, you get up the same time every morning. You may not be able to control, what time you wake up, but you can control what time you get out of bed. And if you start there, that is a very, very good point to start kind of controlling your wakefulness. Okay, so getting out of the bed at the same time every morning, let's say 6 a.m. And what you also can control is your daytime wakefulness, meaning you want to have absence of sleep during the day. So you can control that. You can make sure you don't take a nap. You can make sure you don't sleep during the day. And you can also control when you go to bed. And you should not go to bed too early when you have trouble sleeping. Maybe midnight, let's say. So you can control those three things. You can control what time you get up. You can control that you don't sleep during the day. And you can control that you don't go to bed too early. Now, I'm sure many of you, or at least a few of you, will say, I can't. No matter what I do, I just can't wake up at 6 a.m. I set 5 alarms and I still can't do it. Or no matter what I do, I just fall asleep when I come home after work. Well, this may sound harsh, but I think this is important to note that if you don't change that, then nothing's going to get better. If you keep kind of sleeping in, if you keep falling asleep during the day, nothing is going to get better. And so if you're kind of struggling with this, then what can you do? Well, classic one, if you're struggling with getting up in the morning, set an alarm and put the phone or whatever it is far away from you, so you have to get up to turn it off. Or enlist a friend, have somebody call you or somebody like literally wake you up in the morning. If you tend to fall asleep during the day, if that happens during a certain part of the day, then make it a point to like exercise that time, go out, get some fresh air, do something during that time where you're most likely to fall asleep, or Set alarms preemptively. If you're likely to fall asleep during a certain situation, make it a point to set alarms preemptively. Okay, so that's how you kind of control your wakefulness. That is, for the most part, the little bit easier thing to do, as opposed to the second thing that you have control of. It's a little trickier, but you do have control over this too, which is where your attention is at. If you have trouble sleeping, oftentimes your attention is with sleep. It is trying to figure out why you can't sleep. If it was, was it that benzodiazepine withdrawal? Was it that friend's food poisoning that kept you up all night? Was it this? Was it that? Or the attempts at should I try this? Should I try that? Now, you cannot control your thoughts, but you can control what you do when you're awake. And here's the important thing. You should do things during the day that has nothing to do with sleep and that is enjoyable. My go-to activity lately has been whale watching. I think whale watching is a great strategy. Why do I say that? Well, it's kind of out there. It's kind of like, I'm just saying it so you're a little bit surprised. Why do I say whale watching? It doesn't have to be whale watching. It can be synchronized diving or baking or learning to play the banjo or anything that you do for pure enjoyment, that you look forward to, that excites you, And so if you can do things during the day that shifts your attention away from sleep, then that will be super important. So when you do those two things, when you control your wakefulness, meaning you don't fall asleep during the day, you get up early, you control that you don't go to sleep too early, and you control what you do during the day. You do things that you enjoy that shifts your attention away from sleep. Good sleep becomes inevitable. Hope this helped you, and please tune in tomorrow. It's going to be Ask Daniel number 11, where again, co-host Martin Reed is going to join us answering questions. Until then, take it easy.